It's been a long day, and I really appreciate everyone being here. We've been addressing challenging issues all day. I think it's time to hear from someone who could put things in perspective for us. There's the longest serving CEO in the industry for 24 years. Ron Kruszewski is a guy who can really help us make sense of what we've been hearing. I can always count on Ron for a couple of things. One, to be original. Two, to tell it like it is. He always does. And three, to be positive. And I think during this time, that's something we could all really, really use. He's the perfect way to wrap up our day and our speakers. And I'm really happy. And I want to say thanks, Ron, for your support and your sponsorship. And I'm going to see you guys all a little bit later. When Ron's done, I'll do some closing remarks. But Ron, thank you very much.
Hey, Tony, look, I'm happy to speak at your AdvisorHub Industry and Transaction. Thanks for that nice introduction. I guess I'm last because you couldn't find anyone else to speak. But look, before I begin the substance of my talk, I want to introduce you quickly to Stifel. For those of you who don't know Stifel, I'll be really quick here. Stifel's based in St. Louis, Missouri. It's celebrating its 130th year this year. The following quick slides represent our trailing 12 months performance. 2020 represents our 25th consecutive year of record revenue. Revenue has grown 16% per year since '97. Likewise, net income has compounded annually 24% since 2005. Our assets are nearly $26 billion. Equity capital today totals more than $4 billion. In '97, we had 38 offices, primarily in the Midwest. Today, over 381 offices nationwide, with a significant presence in Europe. Stifel Associates, we grew from 800 when I joined the firm to nearly 8,500 today. And lastly, our stock since that time has grown nearly 2,600% versus 400% for the S&P 500. And I just tell you this just so you know we've been around a little bit, and I've been around. So today, and this is crazy, let's just quickly turn to the election. I mean, what time is it here? 5:16 on the East. Is there any new news? As they declared a winner? Have we learned anything? First of all, I think we can all agree, one thing we've learned is that most polls were ridiculously wrong. If advisors, like many of you on this call, had this kind of performance over 2 presidential elections, you wouldn't have any clients. Reminds me of the rating agencies prior to the financial crisis. What about the market's reaction to all of this? The equity markets have been rallying significantly. My opinion of at least one reason, well, the reason would be that it appears likely that the Republicans will retain control of the Senate. Markets like a divided government. Divided government, frankly, it eliminates the Biden tax proposal, but it will also mean less stimulus. It also takes off the table universal health care, changes in capital gains, the elimination of the filibuster, the Green Deal, and many other proposals of the Democratic platform. In this environment, we at Stifel favor growth stocks. We will be telling clients at some point, as you can imagine, that value will come back into play, but not just yet. And assuming Tillis is declared the winner in North Carolina, the current Senate count will remain at 52. Well, it'll be 52-48, a pickup of 1 for the Democrats. Control of the Senate, though, will come down to dual runoff elections. I think dual. I haven't heard about the race between Ossoff and Perdue, but I'm guessing it'll be dual runoff elections in Georgia on January 5th, 2021. Can you imagine the amount of money that will be spent on the runoffs? I wonder what the polls are going to say, or if anyone really even cares or will believe them. If you want to debate about vote counting at all, just turn on the television. I'm hoping we can get through this and move forward. Looking forward, what faces the Democrats? First, assuming Biden ultimately wins, they are really thrilled. The Democrats are also disappointed down ballot as they hope to control the Senate and expand their House majority. I think going forward, there are going to be power struggles between progressives and moderates in the party. This will play out when, as I believe, AOC will challenge Minority Leader Schumer in 2022, and Speaker Pelosi may even face a challenge for House Speaker this year. What about the Republicans? Conversely, they are disappointed if Trump ultimately loses, yet they are very happy with the gains in the House and the apparent control of the Senate. Republicans will look forward to the possibility of flipping the House in 2022, as often can happen in midterms where the opposing party is in office. So what if Trump loses? I believe he will leave the White House on January 20th. I also believe he will commence his candidacy for 2024, maybe the same day. Just saying. So let me turn to the dynamics and issues in wealth management. We can talk about the election all day, but let's get something closer to home for our industry. Let's start with Reg BI. I believe that regulation best interest is a good rule. It preserves choice while harmonizing the standard of care for advice. As many of you know, Stifel was a strong proponent of Reg BI and specifically formed CRS. Stifel had significant comments on Reg BI, and we gave them directly to the SEC and Labor Department. So, how could Reg BI change? Well, as we know, Reg BI is principle-based rule, and I believe that any changes will come through guidance and interpretation. Many might say enforcement, but I'm not going to go there. At this point, I think the implementation of Reg BI has gone quite well. Every financial advisor in the country does need to be aware of a serious client privacy issue developing with the SEC. The issue is the intention of the SEC to collect your client's full name, date, year of birth, address, account type, along with your client's portfolio holdings and record of transactions. This will all be collected into one giant government database. I believe this is bad policy. My position and the position of the American Securities Association, which I am proud to chair, is clear. There cannot be any reasonable cost-benefit analysis which justifies the risk of collecting this personal information in a national database. Fortunately, the SEC has agreed to put this issue out for public comment. Everyone on this call should weigh in on your position. My position is available in an op-ed that you can find on AdvisorHub. The next issue I think we should all support is around retirement. The Securing a Strong Retirement Act of 2020 was introduced by House Ways and Means Chair Neal and Ranking Member Brady. It does the following, among other things. I think these things are good. It raises required minimum distribution to age 75. It increases catch-up contributions to those over 60. It expands the auto enrollment to ensure people are saving earlier. It creates new financial incentives for small businesses. It allows employers to provide a match when employees pay down student debt. It increases the saver's credit for low-income investors and expands flexibility for making gifts to charities. Look, it is a good rule, and I think it's something, even though it has some faults, I think it's something that we all should support. Another issue that will affect our industry centers around the ESG topic. This is an important topic, and it continues to gain importance. And markets will continuously evaluate the cost benefit of strong ESG practices across, frankly, the globe. But it needs to be weighed versus investment returns. So I think that's something we need to be thinking about. What about private markets? Private equity returns have exceeded those of public equity returns by a yearly average of 4 percentage points over the past 19 years. And this was a study done by Cliffwater for public pension plans. This trend is disturbing because individual investors have been steadily losing access to investing in growth stage companies simply because they don't go public as they used to. They stay private a lot longer. So at Stifel, and I hope that the industry will do this, we're working with our crowd to provide access to early stage investments for individual investors. Bottom line, this represents democratization of private markets. We are providing access to high growth tech companies in a diversified manner for investments as low as $25,000. Look, can't talk without talking about COVID-19. Again, a topic that has been covered so widely. I just want to talk about it for a second in the context of our business. I am proud of how the entire industry has adopted to the remote work environment. We all continue to provide quality advice in turbulent markets especially in the spring while we're working remotely. Let me illustrate what happened at Stifel, for example. At our peak, we had up to 90% of our firm working remotely. With respect to our infrastructure, it's best illustrated by the fact that we had 10 large, sophisticated trading desks globally. In a matter of 5 days, we successfully transitioned to 186 separate and secure locations. And then we processed record volumes. What about our clients? We have learned many things during quarantine, but one thing I want to discuss is how our clients have had a crash course in all things digital. Many clients went from not being able to use an app on their mobile phones to frankly not being able to eat without their mobile phones. Clients exercise at home, they watch movies, they Zoomed with their families and conducted not only their lives, but also, importantly, their financial lives completely remotely. What many pundits have said would take years for clients to adapt has happened during quarantine. What have we done at Stifel? Let me tell you, we have effectively digitized our client experiences while always keeping our advisors as the primary connection. The cornerstone of our strategy is Stifel Wealth Tracker. And what I want to do, I want to talk, this may sound like a bit of commercial, and maybe it is, but what I really want to show and illustrate is what the industry is doing to deal with technology and digitization. And so what are we doing at Stifel? I'll be brief, but I want to give you a sense. Stifel Wealth Tracker represents our own digital hub while always respecting, and this is important, the human element provided by our advisors. Wealth Tracker allows any user to aggregate all their financial data, regardless of where their accounts are held, build a balance sheet, track their net worth, manage and analyze cash flow, follow research, track markets, news, and much more. And it's a free app. You don't need to have an account at Stifel to use this. But if you do have an account and you use the app, the capabilities extend, like managing payments, depositing and transferring funds, reviewing important account documents, and always staying connected to the advisor. In short, it's our digital branch. We have delivered other innovations, as has the industry. We have to think how this impacts our interactions with clients. For us, we've rolled out Movius, an app to provide work-related texting via mobile. We've delivered fully integrated Zoom capability to connect advisors and their clients. And we keep emphasizing digital engagement with DocuSign. Our client reporting, we're delivering industry best performance reporting with our Adapar platform. And we're even doing some work that could revolutionize clients' credit card experience through an overlay card that manages every one of your cards. Maximize your award points, rebates. It'll even let you go back in time and move a payment from one card to another. It's not a credit card. Think of it as an avatar for your credit cards. So look, it's obvious that technology and digital capabilities are becoming increasingly prevalent and valuable to clients. And when you think of Moore's Law, one can only imagine how these capabilities will change in the next few years, short few years. I view the ability to offer, and for all of our firms to offer these digital capabilities, frankly, as table stakes in our business. But, let me digress for a moment. I want to ask a question. I don't know that there's an answer to this question, but I just want to ask and have us think about what will the impact of artificial intelligence be on our industry? If you haven't watched The Social Dilemma, I urge you to do so. Do it tonight. Turn off the elections. I mean, that's the same thing over and over again. But if you haven't watched it, watch The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. And by the way, I'm not promoting Netflix. I'm just telling you to watch this. So maybe to give you a little bit of encouragement about what it's about, maybe not encouragement. And it's controversial in some areas, but I think it'll make you think, if you have not seen it, to watch it. Let me show you 2 snippets from the trailer for The Social Dilemma and what it's about. Take a look.
Rewind a few years ago, I was the president of Pinterest. I was coming home And I couldn't get off my phone once I got home, despite having 2 young kids who needed my love and attention. I was in the pantry, typing away on an email or sometimes looking at Pinterest.
It's a little even trite to say now, but because we don't pay for the products that we use, advertisers pay for the products that we use. Advertisers are the customers. We're the thing being sold.
The classic saying is, if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product.
Look, I guess the challenge for the industry is what happens when we wake up and we ask Alexa or Siri or whatever the future app may be, is what do they think of the markets? And then they give you an answer. As financial planning becomes a more digital experience, there will be platforms that lean more and more on algorithms to produce what looks like advice. Personalized feeds of investment recommendations, algorithmically, I can never get that word right, curated lists and search results. We are seeing the beginning of this now. I think users have an intuition that this kind of advice is different than what they get from a human. So they do view it today skeptically. But is that enough? Should we expect users to always be on their guard against all the interests that come together to produce a recommendation? The fact that there is an algorithmic black box in the middle of a recommendation gives it the appearance of neutrality. But if we have learned anything about digital experiences from this election cycle, we should know that this is an illusion at best and a manipulation at worst. Automatic and algorithmic does not mean unbiased. The appearance of automation and neutrality, the apparent lack of human bias, makes the user situation more fraught, not less. There is still a relationship there between all the parties that meet inside that black box behind the facade of neutrality. And the users aren't looking for a new playlist. They are people. People who are planning for their future, and they have the right to peer inside the black box and understand why and how something is recommended to them or hidden from them. Just saying. And I'll tell you, I think that it's a regulatory issue that is going to challenge what if you make a recommendation as a human, we're subject to regulation. However, if you write a program to have AI through an avatar give you that recommendation, is that any different? And I just challenge the industry and our regulators to think about that as technology and digital and frankly AI become more prevalent in our industry. So let's go back to the theme of today's conference, an industry in transition. I have been in this industry for 40 years. By the way, I'm 45. I started in kindergarten. But in those 40 years, I've seen a lot, and so have many of you. The market crash of '87, the elimination of Glass-Steagall, the tech crash, research settlement, market structure, and the doing away with the eighths and increments in the stock market, the 2008 financial crisis, the flash crash, and of course what we've been talking about recently, which is the impact of digital technology and social media on our business. An industry in transition. Our industry is always in transition. Remember, today we, in the advice channel at least, we sit at the intersection of advice and technology. Change and uncertainty are in fact the foundation of our value proposition for advice. We provide calm, we provide perspective, we provide reasoned thoughts, discipline, and a deep understanding of our clients' financial goals, and do all of this while acting in our clients' best interest. Stifel's founding father said it best, safeguarding the money of others as if it were your own. Your firm, my firm, all firms are going to invest in technology, but it is the advisor many of you watching today who will bring the value add to this intersection. And it is why I am so optimistic about our business. We and all of us should embrace change. We will provide calm, reasoned advice, especially in turbulent and uncertain times. And we will ultimately help our clients through this advice, through our advisors, through the human touch, achieve their goals. That is the beauty of our business. I am optimistic about the business. I'm optimistic about the future of advice and the future of all the advisors. And I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to what I've had to say. Have a great evening. Thank you.